Hi, everyone. Welcome to our first episode of Obsessed in the Cuck Chair. Yay, 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 yay. I tried to hang some gorgeous paintings behind me. You may see that there is a different shade of white in some parts of the wall because I hammered holes into the wall and then had to cover that up with some, I don't know what you call it, spackle of some sort. Because the paintings looked hideous. So we are still going to work on some decorative pieces for behind the Cuck chair. But for now, the Cuck chair itself with me in it, featuring my teddy bear, will have to do. Okay? So I appreciate you all coming. And yeah, let's get started. This episode is going to be all about books of various sorts. It's going to be us unpacking Addie LaRue, our last bookshelf book. It's going to be a discussion on a book I read that changed my life, Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. We are going to discuss a little bit about my book, the one that I'm writing. And we are also going to go through my book haul from Barnes & Noble the other day. And then we are also going to have to discuss our next bookshelf book.
Well, Brooke, you don't always have to be a star.
I know, but you do if you are going to be in the biggest boy band in the world. I gotten so worked up that I had thrown up on myself in my stroller. In my 14-year-old self, I said, those are hot men. And look at them now. They're like babies. That was kind of just like a casual interest, which I guess maybe a little bit more than casual. So that's a lot of book discussion that we have to get through. I do want to get one thing out of the way. Talk about the elephant in the room real quick. I shattered my iPad. And I'm feeling completely sick to my stomach over it. I was shocked. I was completely shocked. I was completely shell-shocked when it happened, even though it was obvious that it was going to be the result, considering I dropped it really, really, really hard on the glass piece. That didn't stop me from being completely shocked when I picked it up and saw that there was a light shattering that had taken place on the glass. What was most difficult about that situation was the fact that I had just ordered a gorgeous case for my iPad because I had kicked it off of my bed a few times already and it landed pretty hard. But thankfully not on the glass. It landed on the back. And I said, okay, you know what, Brooke? Time to stop living on the edge. Get a case. I ordered a case. I slipped the iPad into the case, and it's like a one from Baggu that you kind of just like put the iPad in. It's not like necessarily a part of the iPad at all times. It's more of like a sleeve. It's like a gastric bypass sleeve per se. And as I was putting it into the sleeve, I then picked up the iPad in the sleeve, and then it slipped on right out of the sleeve because I didn't button it, and then landed face down. And that was the hardest part, was that it came in a moment when I was trying to protect it the most. So it's not a horrible shatter. I can show it to you right now as we look at the Obsessed doc together. That's the shattering that we're working with. Izzy just made a face that made me uncomfortable. I'll be honest. It's not great. It's not the worst. So I did take it to, there's like a little kiosk at the Grove that's like We Fix iPhones. And so I took her there and I said, how much would it be to get this young woman back to her resting state? And they said that it's just going to be $350 for now. I said, great. And then I moved forward with ordering a $7 screen protector from Amazon. And that's where we are right now. So she's just going to be living with some scars for the time being. And then if the damage gets any worse and in any way limits my ability to do the crossword or scroll on Google Docs, that's when we will revisit the idea of a procedure. But for now, she's going to live like this. And at the end of the day, we all have to live with scars. Some are visible, some are not. Hers happen to be visible, and that's going to make her even stronger. So thank you for sticking with us and supporting us as we navigate her new body and what we do there. Okay. I also really quickly just want to say, while I was at the Grove trying to get her fixed, I did pop into the local AMC there, and I saw Speak No Evil, which is that horror movie with James McAvoy. That wasn't necessarily important for me to bring up because I don't have many thoughts on it. I just feel as though he should actually be cast in more romantic films, as I do get distracted from like the horror pieces of his films by how attracted I am to him. So I'd like to see him in more of a romantic role. And he used to be in like romance movies. Do you remember that movie? This might have been before your time, but it was like this woman who like had a pig nose, Penelope or something. Yeah. He was gorgeous in that. And he was also like in not Pride and Prejudice, but like something, Atonement, maybe. I don't know. But like put him back in those roles, because like clearly he's got the acting chops, he's got the face, he's got the body, and I want to see it work. Show me how you work. The movie was good. I would definitely recommend it. It wasn't too scary. I would have liked more from it, but I was entertained, and that's really all you can ask for. A few other housekeeping notes. I did contract DOMS again, and it was definitely a much more mild case than what had happened to me in Italy, but it had spread to my core and my arms as opposed to just my legs. So feeling DOMS throughout my whole body was a different experience, and just feeling it, sorry, as I burp, it was a bit of a different experience than just feeling in my legs. It hurt every time I coughed and sneezed, which was unpleasant, but it only took about a day to recover from that. And did you see that horrible comment we got on BNC about a woman delegitimizing my DOMs and saying that it's normal to be sore after a workout? To that, I say, let's end woman-on-woman crime. And DOMS is not just muscle soreness. It is actually delayed onset muscle soreness. And you literally do not know DOMS until you've had it. I honestly hope that some of you would be willing to do some sort of like fundraiser running event, kind of like the episode in The Office, Race for the Rabies Cure. If we could all get together and race for DOMS, because clearly it's misunderstood. It is not just an aching. There's more to it, and you just don't know it until you've had it. And I'm starting to get really pissed off by the lack of awareness and even just like basic empathy. So I will look into that, and I will look into getting one of those giant checks that we can move forward with donating to the DOMS United Foundation of North America and also of the world. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into the books. Izzy, you didn't do Addie.
No, I focused on ACOTAR.
You focus on ACOTAR. Izzy has actually just wrapped up on the third, A Court of Wings and Ruin.
Mm-hmm. I'm on chapter 7 of Frost.
She's on chapter 7 of Frost and Starlight. And if I'm not mistaken, Wings and Ruin was your favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Look at our girl go. I'm really proud of her, and I actually think that my prediction is that she's going to love the last book in the ACOTAR series, which is A Court of Silver Flames, which is the book that actually kind of shifts the narrative a bit because it focuses on different characters. And so because of that, some people don't like it as much, and some people like it even more. I fell into the category of missing Reese so bad. But Izzy, I could actually see you like maybe liking it even more. I don't know. We'll see. I'm really excited to see where you stand. And I also think Izzy is going to move forward with reading Throne of Glass, which I'm really excited about that for her. Okay, let's talk about Addie. I think that it speaks for itself. The fact that a few of our key members, including Izzy, Kenny, Sodi, who you guys still haven't met, they all were not able to really move past the first few chapters of the book. Channing, who is one of the fastest readers I know, she's still not done. You know me, if I have a deadline, I'm usually pretty good about sticking to it. I was not able to make the first deadline with Addie. I really I really struggled with it, and I think a lot of us did. A lot of us really loved it and sped through it, but there was a big chunk of us that had a hard time getting into it because of, I think the length was pretty daunting, but I found it to be very repetitive. The Addie's curse and like all of the incursors that came along with her curse were laid out like 18,000 times more than I thought they needed to be. Like, I feel like I pretty much understood what was going on there in the first few chapters. And yet I feel like all 550 pages, it was just like coming back to just like the mechanics of it, which like, babe, like I get it. Like, thank you. I usually appreciate like thoroughness, but it was a little bit too thorough for my liking. And I also think that I usually like books that touch on multiple genres. Like, I liked the idea that this was fantasy and romance and just like fiction, and like it really touched on everything, but at the same time, like it didn't touch enough on one thing. Like, I didn't feel like there was enough romance for it to satisfy my romance craving. I didn't feel like there was enough fantasy in it for it to satisfy my fantasy craving. I did very much feel like, and this is something that we all can agree on, just from me reading the reviews, and like I don't know how you could argue with this. It was so beautifully written that it felt like one giant 500-page poem to me. And I'm not a poetry girl. No matter how much I've tried, I was a victim of those like Milk and Honey poetry books. I infeeded a picture of just me taking a picture of one of the pages of Milk and Honey, infeeded it, posted it on my Instagram back in 2013. I'm a victim of that. I wanted to like poetry so bad, and I just can't get there, which is fine. We can't all get there. And this very much read like a giant poem to me, which I think is why it just wasn't for me. I need more romance. I need more like heavy plot. It felt almost like not fleshed out enough, which is really interesting considering those 500 pages. And then some parts were too fleshed out, and I was like, okay, I get it. Move on. Anyway, that's a lot of my thoughts. Let me give everybody a summary for those of us who were not able to finish it, didn't read it, whatever. Okay, spoilers ahead. Okay, so the book is basically set up so that it's flashbacks between present day Addie in New York and the Addie of the past 300 years, because she's now like over 300 years old. She was born in France, and as a young woman just really wanted to see the world and travel the world, but unfortunately like her lot in life was just to get married and kind of stay in the same town that she was always born in. And so in a moment of desperation, she prays to the gods who answer at night, which she has been told, don't ever pray to the gods who only answer at night. She had no choice but to move forward with making those prayers. And then one of the gods answered. And unfortunately for us, he was like very hot, which sucks. Addie had been like drawing this man that had come to her in a vision of just like a hot guy that she was wanting, like bad. And the god materialized as that young man, unfortunately for her and everybody involved. And they made a deal where she was basically like, oh, I just want to be free. And of course, he's a god that answers after dark. So he's like, yeah, I'll make you free. But surely there was a cost. She goes back into town to her wedding, and no one knew who she was. So basically the curse, as we learn 18,000 times over and over again, is that no one remembers who she is. And if she gets to know someone, the second that they either like leave a door or she leaves their sight, they'll forget who she is immediately. So she basically like can't leave a mark on the world. She can't write her name. She can't say her name. No one remembers her. So the entirety of the book is her trying to figure out like loopholes and ways that she can figure out how to leave her mark on the world. And so she finds a few ways, like she'll come up with a song or a story or like be in a painting of someone who doesn't necessarily remember who she is, but remembers enough of their interactions with her to kind of like keep her ideas alive. Okay. So I didn't really care about all of the parts in the past that were her kind of like learning those loopholes about her curse and like learning how to leave her mark. Unfortunately, those were just like more of the poetic moments that didn't really hit for me. And I know a lot of you loved those moments. Here's the thing. I completely get it. Like, this was one of those books that I finished and I was like, oh, great book. Not for me. Okay. So I get it, but it's just like those parts in the book were not for me. The only parts of the book that I liked that were in the past were unfortunately when Luke, the devil essentially shows up. That was the god that she made a deal with. She had initially thought that Luke, the man that she kind of viewed in her mind's eye, that gorgeous man that she had created, was short for Lucian, who, as we know, is actually a character in ACOTAR. So that's pretty. And then she did end up deciding that it was probably short for Lucifer when manifested in the form of the dark god in front of us. But when he came in to the picture, I thought that was really interesting. I would have liked a lot. I would have read an entire book just based off of like a girl who made a deal with the devil, and then like it gets kind of sexy. Unfortunately, that's what I was wanting from them. And, you know, it turns out they actually did end up in a relationship, and I was interested in those parts for sure. But then whenever Luke left, I was like completely uninterested. So that is how I felt about the parts in the past. Not interested unless Luke was there. Okay. Now we're in the present. Addie goes into a bookstore, and like she's gotten by all this time by like stealing a lot of stuff, because like the second she leaves the door, no one remembers like why they were upset in the first place. They don't come chasing after her. They forget that somebody even stole something. But she steals a book, and then the really sweet looking young man with glasses who works at the bookstore chases after her. And she's completely shell shocked because no one has chased after her before. And it turns out that this young man remembers her. And his name is Henry. And here's the thing about Henry, okay? He's cute, but I never felt the attachment to Henry that I feel like a lot of people did. He felt like a little underdeveloped to me. But that's fine. Anyway. Turns out like we're learning slowly as we get to know Henry and Addie as they start a relationship. That there's something going on with Henry. Basically, everybody that is in his presence is very infatuated with him in a way that is seemingly abnormal. Like he completely draws everyone in a way that is just like, there's something very much going on here. And I was kind of able to pick up on the fact that there's a possibility that Henry might have also made a deal with the devil, which that came out to be the truth, which I was very proud of myself for picking up on. So basically Henry was like about to kill himself because his fiance or his girlfriend broke up with him when he proposed, because throughout his whole life, he's basically never been enough. There's always been something missing, and he's just like completely over it. The fact that he's never enough. He feels like he's never enough with his job. He's never enough with his parents. He's never enough with his girlfriend. So he like gets really, really drunk and is about to jump off the roof when enter Luke. Henry makes a deal with Luke that everybody that he encounters will see what they want to see in Henry. Hey guys, we want to take a quick break to thank a sponsor of today's episode, SeatGeek. It's still summer, which means there's still time to get outside and leave your house and try new things. Whether that's traveling or going to see your favorite band in concert, now is the time. That's why I need to tell you about my special hookup from today's sponsor, SeatGeek. Everyone can use my code OWB10 and get 10% off any tickets on SeatGeek, whether you're a new customer or not. Sports, concerts, festivals, you name it. There are so many artists touring right now, including Sabrina Carpenter, Billie Eilish, Charlie XCX, and Post Malone, and SeatGeek has you covered. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. No matter how many times you've bought tickets using SeatGeek before, OWB10 is going to get you 10% off your next order. So take out your phone, open the SeatGeek app, and add code OWB10 to your account. What are you waiting for? Do it now because this offer is available for a limited time. Hey guys, we want to take a quick break to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Goodr. If you're looking for stylish sunglasses starting at only $25 a pair, you have to check out Goodr. They're no slip, no bounce, and all polarized. Their sunglasses have a 1-year warranty and 30-day free returns. And now, Goodr has 3 new high-performance styles, the Bolt G, the Bug G, and the Astro G, that make you feel like a professional athlete. These shades are perfect for an active lifestyle and are still super trendy and cute. I know I'll be using my Goodrs to play pickleball, driving around, when I'm walking to Barnes & Noble, and also when I'm walking home from Barnes & Noble. It's been so sunny and hot lately, I don't go anywhere without them. Now's the perfect time to get them for all your summer vacations and activities. And because they're so affordable, you never worry about losing or breaking them. If you want to support the show and try a pair, Goodr is giving Obsessed listeners free shipping. You can go to goodr.com/OWB and use code OWB for free shipping. Goodr offers a 30-day money-back guarantee and 100% satisfaction. Again, that's goodr.com/OWB and use code OWB for free shipping. And that is why he remembers Addie, because that's what Addie wants, is someone to remember her. So that's part of Henry's curse. And Addie is so excited because she feels like, oh, Luke messed up. Like, Luke didn't consider the fact that, like, him cursing Henry in this way would actually allow someone to finally remember me. And she's super excited. And it turns out that, like, this curse, Henry's curse, is like not, he hates it, of course, because no one will ever really like him for him. They'll just like him for the version of him that they think that they're seeing. So he also is in love with Addie because, like, all she really does see him. She just sees someone, all she wanted was somebody that would remember him. So she's kind of really seeing him for who he is. So they're dating, and then unfortunately it turns out that there's more to the curse, to Henry's curse, that we ever realized. He actually only does have just a few more days to live because his Luke's what's that word I'm looking for?
Deal.
Yeah, the deal, but like the catch. There's a very specific word. The catch.
The catch.
The catch. Let's just go with the catch. It starts with an I, maybe. Okay, the catch was that he only gets to live this way for a year, which he was fine with originally because he was planning on dying anyway. And then at the end, Addie ends up telling Luke that she will go with him, like she will be with him forever, like just let Henry live. And so Luke accepts that deal. So Addie is kind of doing one-on-ones with Luke for what we imagine is the rest of eternity. And Henry ends up writing a book because he still remembers Addie. He writes a book, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which is the book that we're reading. And this part did give me goosebumps. The dedication of the book is I Remember You. That actually gave me complete full body chills. And then the book ends with Addie being like, there was a point in time where Luke hated me and that we're going to get back to that time because all I told Luke was that I'll be with him for as long as he wants me. And I'm going to be sure to make it so that he doesn't want me anymore. And then she'll be free again. So yeah, that is how the book ended. I should have maybe gave my thoughts after I gave the summary, now that I kind of think about the structure of that. So if you wouldn't mind rewinding and going back to all of the thoughts that I gave you about the book before I summarize it, that would be super helpful. In summary, it just felt like a giant poem to me. I didn't hate it. I did not hate it. I gave it 3.5 stars. Totally understand why people love it. Not for me. I don't think I'll move forward with reading any of her other books, even though like there is no doubt that she is like probably like an exceptional writer. Like that is indisputable. Okay, let's see what some of you thought. The overall rating The most frequent rating was 5 stars, which I get it. Like I do really get it, but I'm also confused by that because all of your reviews that I read, even if they were 5-star reviews, they weren't like glowing. So let me read you some of them. Okay, this is a 5-star review from Deidre. Wow, a little slow to start, but it was a beautiful read. The time jumps in different settings made the plot seem to move a lot faster, which I enjoyed. I felt a little unsatisfied by the ending, but I feel like that's the point. Hate to say I was extremely down bad for Luke. Completely aligned, unfortunately. And didn't love Henry's character, but he was a fine plot device and did what he needed to do. I usually am not a fan of the it turned into a book you're reading at the end, but it wasn't done heavy-handedly where you could see it coming from a mile away. I love being immersed in this book, and I feel like it will be one that sticks with me 10 out of 10. Yeah, I mean, I agree with all those points. I love that you gave it 5 stars, but I don't know if that feels like the most glowing review to me because I do agree with you that it was a slow start. And the ending was a little unsatisfying and Henry was underdeveloped. Agree with all of those points. To me, that does not a 5-star make, but like everyone's rating system is completely different. Lord knows that my rating system is so flawed. But yeah, love you. Thank you, Deidre, for sharing. Okay, Aaron G said, this was so gorgeously written, but it did truly not need to be so long respectfully. Got quite repetitive, I can't lie. The ending had me feeling all the feels, though few. And she gave it 4 stars. I'm aligned. I'm aligned with everything you said. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing, Aaron G. Okay, Abby gave this 5 stars, and this shocked me to my core. I started this book yesterday, very skeptical, and finished it today. That is, wow, that's a feat. That is a feat considering I think it took me over a month. It took me over a month to read this. And it also took me less than a month to read all of the Throne of Glass books, which was a total of 5,000 pages plus, I think. Not to toot my own horn or anything. Okay, let's keep going with Abby. Though I thought parts were kind of slow, the short chapters helped a lot. I felt wrapped up in the story and could picture it so well. Overall, loved the way it made me feel. Could have been a tad or a lot shorter. Yes, I agree that the writing was so descriptive that I could see everything so clearly in my mind's eye, which really is like, not to bring up my own book, but as I write, I'm trying to embody that, like, oh, let's set the scene in a way that everyone can actually put themselves here. And I think that V.E. Schwab did like an incredible job of that. Oh my God, another 5-star review from Riley. Wow, I really haven't felt this way about a book in a while. Addie, Henry, and Luke are all such delicate yet intricate characters, and I really couldn't take my mind off this whole concept. Pause. Agree. Concept is great. Resume. It's changed my view of life, time, love, and suffering. However, I didn't love Addie's ending. Seemed like a cheap trick and an easy out. But isn't that the point, that her endless life is really at the will of Luke, and it's up to how she wants to make it? I did, however, really love the full ending and how Henry and Bee completed her story and her imprint on the world. Yeah. Me too. Me too, definitely, for sure. And that was a 5-star review. I don't know if I said that. Oh my God, another 5-star review from Lauren. This book might be my fave book of the year. Don't understand the mixed reviews. It was so beautifully written. Yeah, man, I agree. It was beautifully written. I think that's my problem. Like, I didn't like that, which is like not normal. Like very abnormal, clearly. Like every time I read a sentence that was like so beautifully done, I was like, I get it. Like, you can write. Like, give me something good now. Okay. Let's go to some of the not 5-star reviews. Okay, here's a 2-star review from Haley. Interesting concept, but I didn't love the execution. Could have done so much more with Addie's experiences / interactions throughout history. It bugged me that her only defining trait was her freckles. And how did she get all these men to be so taken with her that they used her as a muse when she didn't really show much of a personality for a lot of their conversations? Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, as much time as we spent with Addie, I don't feel like I like really knew her personality. Also, I felt like Addie's character never changed or grew. She was the exact same person at the end of the book compared to when she made the deal with Luke. That's a very good point, especially considering that she's like 1,000 years old. I think it's a really good point. Okay, one last review from Abby. This is 3.5 stars, which is also what I gave it. This one has me so conflicted. On one hand, it's overly long, sometimes boring, and mildly frustrating. It's over 400 pages long, but I feel like we don't get to sit with Addie enough and see everything she lived through, and she doesn't feel as fleshed out as she should be, given that she's the titular character. There's hardly any character growth between the beginning and the end of the story. That said, I finished the book in tears. The last 150 to 200 pages definitely had me hooked, even if it took time to get there. The story is devastating and parts of it ring true, and it overall has such a fascinating concept that I wish it was executed just a little bit better. I definitely will be thinking about this one for a while, so perhaps my thoughts will change with time. For now, I think I need to sit and be sad and think. Okay, I love that one, Abby. I feel like I'm completely aligned with you with that. And I think what's so interesting about all these reviews is that they're all saying the same thing. Like the 2-star reviews are saying the same thing as the 5-star reviews, which is definitely intricate. Speaking of intricate, let's listen to Channing's review. She's not done, but she sent me a little voice note. Let's hit it.
Hi, Brooke, and hello, Brooke Shelf. Good morning, y'all. I have unfortunately not finished the book. I feel horrible that I did not kind of hit that deadline. I am at 85%, but with that being said, I've been about to finish it for quite a while, so that pace is a little bit slower than what I prefer. Once we kind of got to the New York portions and all of that, I was kind of getting a little bit tired with all of the flashbacks every other chapter. Yeah. I know we've got to get that backstory in there, and I do appreciate the depth of it, and I'm sure it will pay off once I actually get to the ending of it, but the pace is just really, really slow. What else? I would say I'm proud of Addie for trying to do something a little bit out of the normal, with her life. But I think her lesson is you don't need to make these decisions just based on your short-term scenario, okay? Because obviously it really, really affected her in the long run for however many years. I personally,
I'm not sure what she's saying by that.
My life with everyone forgetting. That would be annoying, except for the scamming aspect with no money and having to steal things. Not a problem. I think that would be fine for me personally. But yes, that would be frustrating. So I do feel for her. I am at the part right now where I just found out Henry has 1 month left. So definitely interested to see how this pans out. And I am praying for a happy and fully resolved ending. I need something positive, all loose inside up.
Poor girl.
I'm sure I will not get that. I do appreciate that this one has a little bit more depth than Magnolia Parks, but I will say I've read Magnolia Parks a lot faster. So what does that say about me? Let's see. Right now I'm thinking I'm going to give it a 3. I know you gave it a 3.5, Brooke. Just because of the slow progress, let's kind of give me something to work with and then give me a whole lot more. Unless the ending really satisfies me, then maybe I will give it a 4. But at this point, I'm kind of just ready to be done with it. I'm interested to see what everybody else thinks, and I sure hope y'all enjoyed it. Sorry if this was a little bit extended and I'm rambling. But anyway, can't wait to hear everybody else's thoughts, and thanks.
Thank you, Channing. I mean, we love that girl more than life itself, so really appreciate her thoughts. Agree with everything she said there. And last thing I'll say is that based off of just enjoyment alone, I think I would maybe give it 2.5 to 3 stars. But because it was so well written and undeniably just good in terms of the concept and the writing, I did have to bump that up to 3.5 because I'd feel bad. I'd feel like a bad reader if I did not do that. So let's move on to a book that I loved. Okay. I'm really excited to talk about this one. As soon as I kind of shut the last few pages of Addie L, I went ahead and picked up Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. Now, I've never read a Christina Lauren book. They are actually 2 people, which is really interesting. And I did not know until I was halfway through the book. There is a Christina and there's a Lauren. And did you know that, Izzy? Is that not the most insane thing you've ever heard? Which is so insane because you would literally never know that there are 2 different people writing this book because the writing styles are so cohesive. They are one brain. It's so incredible. Or they have the best editor. It's crazy. You would really just never know. I did know that people referred to Christina Lauren as they. I thought they were non-binary. But it does turn out they are 2 different women. So very cool. I would love to write a book with a friend one day if anybody is interested. This book that you guys gotta pick it up. So good. I have goosebumps just holding it in my hands. The young man in this book, his name is Elliot Petropoulos. He is the love of my life. He I haven't felt this way about a man in a book since you know who. Okay, and by you know who, I mean you know who. R. Okay, I'm talking about R right now. Wow, this book is just like, it was just the perfect romance. Like, I was overcome with just like that warm, gooey feeling, which is what I really wanted from Addie and Henry, or even Addie and Luke per se. And I just didn't get from that. I mean, this was just, I was kicking my feet. I was giggling. It actually made me really, because there's a portion of the book that takes place when they were younger, and it made me like almost like it, and when I say almost, I mean completely. It made me really depressed that like I will never have anything like that type of young love. Like, there's nothing I can do to go back in time and get that, which did create a bit of an existential crisis. So let me actually dive into the summary of the book before I give you my thoughts. And I'm not going to spoil this one because it is so important to me that you all read it. Okay. Basically, this is another book that flashes between past and present. So it starts off in the present, where this young woman, Macy, is kind of just like coasting through life. Like, everything's going well, but like she's kind of muted and numb in terms of feeling, and just she has a fiance who she definitely likes. She likes him enough. But like, she's not even really looking for that like all-consuming love, because she knows that type of all-consuming love can lead to that type of all-consuming devastation, and she is not interested in that, especially as somebody who lost her mother when she was very young, and just like she has no interest in feeling those types of feelings ever again. So she kind of just keeps everything and everyone at arm's length. She's very much just coasting through life. But one day she's in a coffee shop and she sees Elliot Petropoulos, Elliot P, in the coffee shop, who was the love of her life from when she was younger. And she has not seen him or spoken to him in 11 years. I'm giving myself goosebumps. And so the story is basically going back and forth between her reconnecting with Elliot in the present and telling the story of how she met and grew up and fell in love with Elliot in the past. In the past, her mom had just died, and in an attempt to kind of just like keep her childhood happy and keep her mind off of things, her dad got them a cabin, and their neighbors are Elliot and his family, and they like spend the summers and the weekends reading together, reading in like a cute little library closet that her dad made her, which is just like goosebumps on steroids for me personally, chills everywhere. And yeah, this was actually, this is something I recognize that like I'm not Shakespeare. Okay. I'm not looking for Shakespeare. This book to me was as beautifully written as Addie, which I understand is probably like objectively not the case, but I truly thought this was so well written and so beautiful, and it did evoke more of an emotional response in me than it did Addie. And I recognize that is a me. I don't want to say problem. Problem's not the right word, but that is just a me experience. This is just, this type of love gets me more giddy and evokes more of an emotional response. Yeah, Elliot is completely like to die for. He's got glasses that he keeps pushing up, and every time they wrote like, oh, he pushes his glasses up the bridge of his nose, I was like clapping, and they said that like every other page. And I went to see what the people that I follow on Goodreads that had read this book had reviewed it, and there's this one woman who I used to work with who always gives like the most blunt reviews of books, and we very much do not have the same reading taste. And she gave the book like 2 stars and said that every time that Elliot pushed his glasses up her nose, she was wanting to kill herself. So that just goes to show you really different strokes for different folks, because when I fall asleep at night, I'm actually visualizing Elliot pushing up the glasses on the bridge of his nose. So DSDF, I hope that you guys give this book a shot. I really personally was completely addicted to it. And when you read it, or if you've already read it, I do want to know your thoughts about how do you feel, what do you think it means about me? And do you think it's even okay that I in this book felt much more connected to the and also like giddy by the young love romance than the current romance. Izzy, you read this. Did you feel that way, or did you feel more attached to like the current Macy and Elliot?
No, the current one like frustrated me because I was like, just get together.
Yes.
And then the past was
The
just
current Macy and Elliot are very much, I feel like this is the case with so many romance books. And I feel like this one did it better than the others because there was like more of a legitimate reason for it. But like that like miscommunication, like I'm not telling you what I'm thinking, we're not having the conversation type of trope is very frustrating. And that was like definitely a part of this book of just like clearly they were both not saying things that needed to be said. I do think that in the end it was like, okay, like I get why you weren't able to have that conversation. But that is something that is very challenging about romance books, and that didn't exist in the young love plot. But also I was just like so giddy for them in the closet. So let me know what you guys think about that and what that means about me per se. Hey guys, we want to take a quick break to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Nutrafol. Hair thinning affects approximately 1 in 2 women. It's normal, but it's certainly not ideal. Whether you're actively struggling with hair shedding or want to get ahead of the problem and improve your hair health, now is the perfect time to add Nutrafol to your daily routine. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1 million people. See thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. While many supplements rely solely on ingredient studies, Nutrafol clinically tests final formulations to ensure their efficacy. In a clinical study, 86% of women reported improved hair growth after taking Nutrafol Women's Hair Growth Supplements for about 6 months. With a Nutrafol subscription, building a hair growth routine is simple. Purchase online, no prescription required. Automated deliveries and free shipping keep you on track. Plus, you can save up to 20%. You'll have access to free naturopathic doctor consults, and a Headspace membership is included. Get results you can run your fingers through. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code OWB. Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and stylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code OWB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code OWB. Hey guys, we want to take a quick break to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Squarespace. I love Squarespace because it's the user-friendly platform that allows people and businesses to create professional websites without the need for technical knowledge or coding skills. Whether you're just starting out or managing your growing brand, Squarespace makes it easy to create, sell, and engage with your audience all in one place. You can start a completely personalized website with the new guided design system, Squarespace Blueprint. Choose from professionally curated layouts and styling options to build a unique online presence, tailored to your brand or business and optimized for every device. Then easily launch your website and get discovered fast with integrated, optimized SEO tools so you show up more often to more people and grow the way you want. You also have the option to sell content with Squarespace. Just add a paywall to sell memberships, courses, and files your customers can download, like PDFs, music, or ebooks. If you're not looking to sell, try their video collection. Upload video content, organize your video library, and showcase your content on video pages. You can even add a paywall to your content to sell access to your video library. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/OWB to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/OWB to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Okay, let's talk about my book. I should be talking about it in the sense of like being very vague of like, oh, like I'm writing a book and I'm really excited about it. I need to shut up and just wait a little bit because like the fact of the matter is like I don't know if it's like coming out, and like I should just wait until I know that, until I like keep talking about it, because I'm going to be so mortified if I keep talking about it and talking about how good I think it is and talking about like how obsessed I am with it and it just like doesn't get published. And I did let my agents know that if that is the case, no one will ever see me again. No one will hear from me again. But I genuinely, I think that it you'll get the chance to read it. I do hope that it and think that it comes out. I am having the time of my life writing this book, you guys. I really am. I feel like I finally have a purpose. Feels dramatic, but I am kind of feeling that way. Like I feel like I wake up every morning and I'm like, okay, time to spend time with the loves of my life, who are the characters. It is. I'm finding it to be so therapeutic. I'm kicking my feet at something that I've written, which is making me really proud of myself, which I feel like I don't usually feel that way, which is really exciting. Here is how the process works. And I want to let you guys know that I checked my privilege at the door here before I got into the Cuck chair. And I recognize that like the way that this process looks for me is different than it might look like for somebody who doesn't have a following. So I'm so lucky about that. I'm lucky that I'm kind of getting a little bit almost like fast tracked to the experience because I already had agents, and there's also at my agency, there's a publishing team. So I was able to connect with agents there who I'm like obsessed with, addicted with. I talk to them like every second of the day if I could. I feel like they are right there with me with the characters in this book, and I'm so lucky to have them. So I'm lucky that I already have agents who are helping me with this book, which I feel like for people who are just kind of like starting out writing, I think I'm not positive. I don't like 100% know how it works, but I think getting agents would kind of be the first step, like sending your full book or at least like partial pages like out and like getting agents that are interested. So I'm very lucky to have already kind of had that experience built in. So right now I am at the 75 page mark, which is really exciting because that is the amount of pages that my agents wanted to be able to send the book out to editors and publishers. So what that means and looks like, I think I'm a little bit scared to ask questions because I don't necessarily want to know the answers. But what I think that means is that once those pages get sent out to different publishers, they read it and decide if it's something that they're interested in. And then I'm also on the side of TikTok where people are trying to sell their own books or have just sold their own books. And I think a book can go to auction, which means that multiple editors and publishers want it. So I've been kind of having fantasies about like people like putting bids on my book, which would be really exciting. But right now I'm in the stages of kind of putting a fancy little bow on the 75 to 80 pages that I have. And then once that bow is put on, the book will start being pitched. And then hopefully I can let you guys know if someone buys it. Yeah, I think then that's when I would get an advance, which is really exciting. And, keep your fingers crossed. I just like, I'm having the time of my life. And I think that this book is important. And I think that when I'm reading, there's something that I'm always wanting that is never represented. And I think that this book will do that. And I'm not going to say really what it's about because even though like I'm like shaking, like I want to tell you guys so bad, but I'm not going to do that. But I will just say that I don't think that it's like any particular genre, which I had actually just expressed that I don't like, because that's what Addie felt like to me. But this is kind of what's happening in this book. Yay. But my hope is that instead of it just being a bunch of different genres, we're actually creating a new genre right now. So that's what we're doing. And I'm really excited to keep you updated on the process while also being really vague about it. So I went to Barnes & Noble the other day because I asked my agents and I asked Google and I asked my friends and TikTok and whatever for recommendations for books that would inspire me and have elements of the book that I'm writing. And some of these books that I'm about to go through, my agents who have read what I have recommended based off of like what they have seen in my book and think will be good inspirations. And some I just Googled like, books that like represent anxiety well, because obviously not telling you anything about the book, but obviously it goes without saying we're doing some anxiety in that book. Okay, let's do a haul. Yay. Okay, I always forget how hard it is. I guess I don't have to hold the mic right now. I'm putting the mic down. Okay, let's go through these one by one. And if you saw my TikTok of me doing this very haul, you didn't see it. Okay. So first off, I got the Unhoneymooners, which is also by Christina Lauren. They, them, but just two different women. This is their most popular book, but I don't think people like it as much as they like Love in Other Words, but I'm excited to read it. I'm excited to get more romance inspiration because I'm not telling you anything about my book, but maybe, who's to say, maybe there will be some romance. And if there is some romance, I would want to make people feel the way that I felt when I was reading Love in Other Words, kicking their feet, giddy, giddy, giddy goosebumps. So I will definitely be using Christina Lauren for that type of inspiration. Okay, this one, Funny You Should Ask, by Alyssa Sussman, is not necessarily like direct inspiration for my book, but it is about a girl hooking up with her celebrity crush, which there's no way that this just isn't going to inspire me in life, which will lead to me being inspired on the page, of course. Any inspiration is good inspiration. This seems so right up my alley. And I also am just trying to get that like giddy, giddy crush energy. And I think that this book will kind of bring that out of me. So I'm really excited for that. Okay, shockingly, I have not read this one. This is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, and it's about a girl who writes fan fiction and is just like a very obsessive fan. Really looking to capture some of that obsessive energy. Not that I need any inspo, but you know, it's just kind of nice to see how that is captured on the page. I also am really excited because I haven't read a young adult book in a really long time. And obviously, like when I was a young adult, I adored them. And so I'm really excited to see if I still like them, or like if they read a little young, or what. My feelings that I will still be really, really giddy about that, especially based off of how I felt reading Love in Other Words and that kind of young love that was captured. So I'm really excited for this one. Now, here are the ones that my agents recommended based off of my book. Okay, this one is Ghosts by Dolly Alderton. I had actually not heard of this one. I know Dolly. I love Dolly. I loved the things, something about love. Do you know that one, what I'm talking about? It was a series, Everything I Know About Love, or something like that by Dolly.
Yeah.
This is about a woman who downloads a dating app, meets a great guy, Max. They have chemistry. They dance together like fools. And then Max ghosts her. Okay. And then she kind of has a spiral out from Max ghosting her. So I'm really excited to read about that spiral. Okay. Keyword spiral here. I think that will be some really good inspiration. And I really like the cover too. So I'm really looking forward to that one. Okay. Now we have Everybody in This Room Will Someday Be Dead, which is by Emily Austin. And this is one of the books that came up when I was Googling obsessively about books that have main characters with anxiety. And this is about a young woman who cannot stop thinking about death and is very obsessive and anxious. And that is just like exactly what I'm looking for. And there's a lot of scratches on the back of this book that are making me really upset right now. And we are going to have to do some surgery when this podcast is done. I also wanted to pick up Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney because I loved Normal People, and the girls, my agents, were recommending different Sally Rooney books, but the one copy that they had in Barnes & Noble, or on display in Barnes & Noble, had a crack in the spine, and so I wasn't able to move forward with purchasing it. But I think that I want to read Sally Rooney's next book, Intermezzo, first, and I'm really excited about that release. And that, keep that in mind, put a pin in that, because that will be qualifying as one of the upcoming bookshelf books. Okay. Now we have Writers and Lovers by Lily King. This to me screams book club book. Okay. I don't know if we want to go in this direction, because it also could be like another, I don't know much about it, but it could be like another slower one. Why are these all like have marks on them? I'm freaking out. Sorry. I'm sorry. I got distracted by the marks. Izzy, what was I saying? Oh, and it's a read with Jenna. I love Jenna. What was I saying? Oh, this looks like a good book club pick just because it's like more like literary fiction, which always screams book club. That being said, I don't know if we want to go in that direction after we just had another kind of like more serious book. So that is where the poll is going to come in. But this has a little blurb on the back. I'll just read. Blindsided by her mother's sudden death and wrecked by a recent love affair, 31-year-old Casey Peabody has arrived in Cambridge, Massachusetts in the summer of 1997 without a plan beyond a determination to live a creative life. Written with King's trademark humor, heart, and intelligence, this is a transfixing novel that explores artistic passion, ambition, and the terrifying and exhilarating leap between the end of one phase of life and the beginning of another. Okay, love that gave us nothing. But honestly, I like going into books blind. So, and this cover is to die for, truly. So let's keep that in mind. Okay, next book, Stephen King, a memoir of the craft on writing. You guys know me, I cannot do nonfiction. But there is something about Stephen King that makes it seem less daunting. I've only read one Stephen King book. I've read The Shining, and I wasn't even like particularly obsessed with it. I liked it, but I don't know, it was like almost a little bit too poetic for me. And by poetic, I don't mean like poetry. I just mean like probably the word I'm looking for is like good. But I don't know why I'm like very drawn to him as a human. I find him so alluring, and I'm really excited to learn more about him and what makes him a good writer. And I've heard a lot of people saying that this book has actually like taught them how to write. So I am really excited for that. And I honestly think like if we want to venture into nonfiction, like this could be kind of fun to do together. So that will be included in the poll. All of these will be included in the poll. This one is pretty, and I really like this one. This is another one that my agents recommended. It's called Piglet by Lottie Hazel, and this is about a woman whose childhood nickname was Piglet, and her fiance confesses a horrible betrayal 2 weeks before they get to be married, and Piglet finds herself suddenly hungry. So they are moving forward with the marriage, but things start to unravel, and she kind of has a breakdown, which I feel like is a theme in a lot of these books that I'm interested in pursuing, and that we might want to even consider pursuing together. So I know where the scratches are coming from this on writing Stephen King book. All the ones that touched Stephen are have this like black film on them. And so Stephen King is leaving his mark. Okay. And I will take a Lysol wipe to that, and I'm not going to let it distract me any longer. Okay. So those are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plus intermezzo. Is it intermezzo or intermezzo? Intermezzo. Plus that. So 9 books. I'm going to put a poll out for which book we want to read together next. For next bookshelf, I'm not going to put an end date on it. We're just going to kind of see how people are doing. I'll monitor the Fable, and I'll ask you guys some questions on Instagram about how the pacing is going. But yeah, I'll put out a poll when this episode comes out, and we will figure out what book we're going to read. One of these, plus Sally. I want to let you guys know that I am going to a wedding in a few weeks, and this will be the first wedding of somebody that I went to high school with. And I am waking up in the middle of the night drenched in cold sweat for the past few weeks thinking about the wedding. I haven't really seen, except for the people I have like a group of 5 best friends from high school that I see and keep in touch with. But this is a group that still love, but haven't seen as much. I haven't seen some of the people going to the wedding. I haven't seen it all since I graduated high school, which I'm feeling completely nauseous, completely cold, sweat breaking out across my palms type of nauseous about it. I think I would be nervous regardless to just like see people that you haven't seen in so long. But there is the added element of like, I've put myself on the internet and I'm just like so aware of that. And so aware of the fact that people might have also seen me on the internet and are thinking things about that. So I'm feeling pretty horrible. I definitely excited too. Excited to see people, but also mostly feeling sick. Mostly feeling completely sick. It is a weird thing. I think that I went in a very different direction than a lot of people from my high school, and I just like I don't know how to feel about that. And I have always my whole life been very aware of just like thinking people are looking at me, but obviously like with the way my life has gone, that's gotten worse. And I am definitely excited to see how everything goes at the wedding. I did just get a dress that is like very pretty, which I'm excited about. I do think, and like something I feel confident in, is that I did have a glow up, as the kids are saying, since I graduated. So I'm excited. Part of me is kind of like excited to show that off. And I'm getting my Invisalign a few weeks before. I guess I'll take that out at the wedding, but maybe my teeth will be a little bit straighter by the time I get there. So that'll be exciting. Yeah, just so you guys know, just so you have context, if you see like me in a photo at a wedding, know that I'm probably like feeling so sick. So yay. That is that. And then that wedding is in Philly, and then I'm going to New York for a few days just to kind of take in the sights in there. And I was planning on going to see Little Shop of Horrors with Andrew Barth Feldman and Sarah Hyland. I messaged Andrew like a month ago, and I was like, how long are you going to be in Little Shop? Because the thing with Little Shop casting is that it's like they're only there for like a few months, and then they switch it out for a new cast. And he said at least till the end of September, maybe a little bit through October. So I heard what I wanted to hear. Okay. And I said, great, he will be there when I am there in October. So I didn't really like rush into getting to New York beforehand, because I was pretty convinced that he would be there in October when I'm there. His last performance was just announced to be September 29th. I am beside myself. I'm so upset that I'm not going to get to see him. I did consider, and Sarah too, like she's incredible. I did consider like getting a ticket, like to just like go to New York for like the night. But I just like, I don't like flying. And like, that is such a long trip. And I don't want to go to New York just to come back and then go back. I thought about going a few days earlier. I go to Philly on October 3rd. So their last show is September 29th. So I thought about going that weekend and then having to put Izzy and Connor in a difficult position, because I've already made them reschedule things around so I could go to New York. Connor's gone that week. But then I already have to do all this obsessed. It's fine. I also like don't want to be away. That would be like over 2 weeks of me being away, which is just like too much for me. But like it's not completely off the table, but I don't think I'm going to do it. But I'm very upset. I'm very sad. But I did make myself feel better by buying tickets to The Outsiders. Spent a pretty penny on those. That is a new musical that's based off of the book and the movie The Outsiders. And it's like, it won a lot of Tonys. It's getting a lot of buzz. I've seen clips of it on TikTok. The music is so right up my alley. We have about 2.5 weeks until my entire personality changes. Okay. So let's just sit and appreciate the fact that right now, in this moment in time, The Outsiders is not my new personality. And that's something that we need to appreciate, because that's not going to be the case for long. That is going to be one of those things that completely consumes me. And I would assume that we will get an episode based off of The Outsiders. So I am really excited to see that show. Very lucky to be going to see that. Devastated to be missing Andrew as Seymour. But thankfully, you guys have probably seen me reposting a lot of clips of him and Sarah. So thankfully we have TikTok, and we have gotten access to their performance through the phone, although it will never be the same as seeing them in person. So, okay. yeah, that is it from me. I'll see you next week. We have a special guest coming next week. Izzy, I don't know if I told you about our special guest, but we do have a special guest that will be coming to my apartment to film. So you guys have actually been requesting this guest. This is a repeat guest. This is somebody that has been on Obsessed before. They are a fan favorite, so I'm really excited to get them back into the cuck chair to record. Okay, love you. By the time this comes out, I'll make sure that I will have posted a poll for the next Brookshelf book on the Obsessed Instagram account. So go there to vote, and then I will announce the Brookshelf book a few days later on the Instagram and also on the next episode. So love you. Hope that wasn't too much of me talking. Okay, bye.